The intent of workplace bullying is to hurt the target, and unfortunately that's exactly what it does. The effects of workplace bullying on targets can be horrifying. One of my theories about workplace bullying is that most often the target of workplace bullying is the most sensitive one in the place, an empath or HSP, highly sensitive person. And if you are clairsentient on top of that, unfortunately, no matter how much we try to protect ourselves spiritually, we can't help but be affected by the negativity. As they say, lie down with dogs, wake up with fleas. The sad truth for everyone is that sick people make us sick, sometimes literally, physically. The scariest part of all is when the negativity starts to creep into your personal life. For me, the effects of workplace bullying on targets are threefold: financial, physiological, and psychological. To be a serial target of workplace bullying is to live a life of chronic poverty. You never make enough money if you keep getting bullied out of the workplace. How do you live on so little money? Well, not very well. You may be in debt up to your eyeballs, if only to your family. You resign yourself to living in apartments because home ownership is not an option for the unemployed. You drive an economy car. You become a master at the Spartan lifestyle of a monk, sleeping on the floor on futon or air mattresses, shopping only at discount stores, and yes, even dumpster diving. Eating out is a rarity, owning a pet is impossible, and taking a vacation is comical. Vacation from what? You can't take a vacation from work if you don't have a job. Your long periods of unemployment are your vacations. Because money for a target of workplace bullying is so scarce, spending it may become a source of tremendous anxiety. You may become obsessed with economizing and with free stuff. Why pay for a gym membership when you can run for free? Why pay for bottled water when you can get it from the tap? Why pay for books when you can go to the library? Why pay for subscriptions when there are publications you can pick up for free? And why buy music when you can listen to the radio? Physical reminders of having spent money may become a source of shame and guilt, and you may become obsessed with streamlining and constantly recycling, reducing, minimizing, and reusing. It can become this whole manic depressive binge purge cycle. When you are working and making money, you buy stuff. When you get bullied out of the workplace, you start getting rid of stuff. You may get to the point that you can't even hold on to gifts. Whenever anybody gives you anything, you have 4 options: sell it on eBay, regift it, recycle it, or just throw it away. To other people, this looks like obsessive compulsive disorder or OCD, but it's not. It is the physical manifestation of the anxiety that you feel about money. You may feel more comfortable spending money on intangible things, out of sight, out of mind. And if you are a serial target of chronic workplace bullying, much of the money that you do make has to be spent on therapy and medication and other treatments to heal from the abuse. The physical effects of long-term narcissistic abuse are well documented. If you are a target of workplace bullying, however, I think there is another factor that has not been taken into consideration in the narcissistic abuse recovery community, and that's health insurance. If you live in a country in which health insurance depends on the employer, if you don't work full-time, you don't have health insurance, which means you never go to the doctor for routine visits. People say one of the best ways to ensure overall good health is regular checkups. And you may notice your health starting to decline prematurely over the years. You may notice your hair becoming thin and falling out, your gums receding and bleeding, and your nails becoming brittle and damaged. Tooth problems are another issue altogether because sometimes even people with health insurance don't have dental coverage. If you are a target of workplace bullying, you may suffer also from self-abandonment and a total lack of self-care, such as eating poorly, not exercising, not even maintaining regular hygiene. And you may even notice that your posture has started to deteriorate under the weight of so many years of abuse. Now let's talk about your sleep problems. Let's face it, being a victim of any form of narcissistic abuse means that your sleep becomes absolute garbage. No matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, you just don't sleep well. Either you have trouble falling asleep or you wake up in the middle of the night and it can take you as long as 4 hours to get back to sleep. During that time, you probably think about all the horrible things that have been said and done to and about you. When you do sleep, it's probably a very light, restless, poor quality sleep, like you were in bed for 12 hours and still got up feeling as though you lost a UFC fight. You know that it's a poor quality sleep because you can't remember your dreams. When you do, nightmares may be a stretch, but your dreams may be very dramatic and you may get night sweats. You may resort to self-abusive behaviors to force yourself to sleep, such as alcohol and pill abuse, over-exercising, never allowing yourself to rest during the day, and putting off sleep for as long as possible. You may try to knock yourself out and pass out in order to sleep. Every now and then you may sleep for 12 or 13-hour stretches. Every other day may be a duvet dive day. You may find that you walk around in a state of chronic exhaustion, a zombie in your own life. And on a subconscious level, that's the whole point. You can't get angry if you're too tired to care. Being checked out is a wonderful coping mechanism for a workplace bullying environment. You may have to be physically present, but you don't have to be emotionally present. All the same, if you are having trouble sleeping, I can recommend melatonin, which was recommended to me by my psychiatrist. I believe it is a non-toxic sleep aid. Psychological abuse is not just emotional. It can have physical manifestations as well, and the big one is digestive problems. Like I said, sick people make us sick, sometimes literally. Let me tell you something. A workplace bullying environment is excellent for weight loss. You may find that you are actually losing weight because you have no appetite around all of these sick, disgusting people, and they will bully you for that too. Sickness is something that takes place both inside and outside of the workplace. If you are a target of workplace bullying, the term IBS doesn't even cut it. You may find that you have to call in sick, arrive late, or leave work early because you keep getting sick. Workplace bullying increases absenteeism, and that's why. If you are a target of workplace bullying, you may find that you get sick on a weekly basis and have to throw out all your food and start all over again. The problem is, it's not your food. It's the people around you. Again, if you are an unhealed and untrained empath and clairsentience is one of your gifts, then you just blithely absorb negative energy directly into your body without even realizing it. In other words, all of that nasty negativity goes into your gut and comes out the other end. You may feel that you just feel sick all the time. You may feel bad if you eat and bad if you don't. You may find that the toxicity combined with any substance abuse in which you are engaging has permanently damaged your system and you've lost the ability to eat normally. You may even develop eating disorders, which have nothing to do with supermodels on magazine covers and everything to do with, again, the desire to not be present, to be invisible. An eating disorder is a drug just like any other. It's just free and legal. You become an escape artist in your own life. If you live in a money-obsessed culture and come from a family of overachievers, you are absolutely nothing if you don't make money. When you are working and making money, you get attention and approval from your family. When you're not, you don't exist. If you are a target of workplace bullying, it's not true that you don't work. You just don't make enough money, but people conflate the two. And all of that does a number on your self-esteem. Because of cultural and family of origin programming, it's almost impossible to find your self-worth separate and apart from work and money. With no net worth, you may feel worthless and as a result engage in low self-esteem behaviors, such as alcoholism or other substance abuse or addiction, having unprotected sex with people you don't want to have sex with, engaging in other risky or dangerous situations or behaviors, or just associating with people who are beneath you, which only subjects you to more bullying. Your self-esteem may be so bad, you may not feel worthy of human contact and may just self-isolate instead. But because man is a political animal and no man is an island, you may crave human connection anyway, and then just reach out to the nearest warm body that comes along. You know what they say, never shop when you're hungry. Hungry people make terrible shoppers because they buy a bunch of junk. The people that you expose yourself to when you are vulnerable may do even more damage. Now let's talk about your agoraphobia. It's very common for victims of narcissistic abuse to become agoraphobic. You get so used to being bullied, to all the insults and the ridicule and the staring, both inside and outside of the workplace, that you come to expect it. Part of the intent of workplace bullying is to instill fear, and it works. And that fear may become pathological, which is what a phobia is. It is a form of social anxiety. You may not be able to imagine going to the grocery store or restaurants or parties or other gatherings of large groups of people without being bullied, without being laughed at and stared at, and people muttering insults about you under their breath to one another, and everyone laughing. You may feel as though you cannot make it from your apartment to your car door without somebody coming after you. As a result, you may not be able to handle more than one person at a time and refuse to do group anything. If that one person is mean to you or doesn't respect your boundaries, at least you can control it. You may eschew friendships, become very isolated, and avoid going out altogether. When you do, you may resort to extreme measures to protect yourself in public, such as never going anywhere without wearing earbuds or headphones. You may get to the point that you interact with other people only when there is an exchange of money involved, when you are working or buying something, for example. What looks like antisocial personality disorder is really just a coping mechanism and a very rational response to decades of hardcore bullying. And some agoraphobia may again be being an unhealed and untrained empath. You are so sensitive to other people's energies that you just absorb negativity without even realizing it. And if you don't know how to cleanse yourself energetically, it's best not to be around other people at all. You may feel pathological fear even when no one's around, even in the sacred privacy and sanctity of your own home. You may expect to be laughed at and criticized for every little thing that you do, such as dropping or spilling something on the floor, for example. You may feel as though you have to be perfect at all times and expect to be bullied if you are not. You may live in terror of doing or saying anything wrong. You may find that you breathe very shallowly because of all the anxiety. You may be afraid to breathe, to move, to even make a sound, for fear of attracting negative attention. It is a complete and total inability to relax. You may constantly expect the other shoe to drop and never expect anything good to last. When people are kind to you, you just can't believe it. You feel like a drowning victim coming up for air to a life preserver. There's a term for all of this. It's CPTSD. Chronic post-traumatic stress disorder is also very common in victims of narcissistic abuse. The ultimate effect of workplace bullying is suicide. We do know that workplace bullying drives targets to suicide. What is less clear to me is the cause. I would really like to see some statistics on how many targets of workplace bullying committed suicide, not because of depression, which is the usual cause of suicide, but for financial reasons. Because of separation from employment and income, they simply couldn't make it and couldn't survive and support themselves financially. If you're like me, homelessness is not an option. When you do not commit suicide, you may lapse into addiction, which I believe is this liminal state between existing and not existing. You don't really want to die, but in a cruel world full of mean-spirited bullies, you don't really want to live either. It's not that you want to commit suicide. You just want everybody to leave you alone. This disappearing act that you do in your own life is called empathic shrinkage. That's an actual thing. You can just look it up. Basically, you are not present in your body because you don't want to be. It's a very existential response. If your body's going to attract this much unwanted attention, well, you're just not going to have a body. This is the proverbial fight, flight, or freeze. Empaths know how to flee energetically. When you are not present in your body, you are distant. The French word distant is the word for aloof, which is the opposite of friendly. Your aloofness only makes the bullying worse. It's perfectly normal and understandable to want to distance yourself from negativity, but they will bully you for that too, because bullies, as narcissists who need constant supply, demand constant attention, refuse to take no for an answer, and will not be ignored. They demand that you engage with them. It's just that they want you to engage with them on their level, which is the level of ego. It's the ego games. And it is a very nasty, low spiritual level indeed. No wonder you don't want anything to do with it. I call it the accumulation of things. If you get bullied by one person, you might not let it affect you. Just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, shake it off, as the songs say, write that person off. Or you may go within to do some deep, hard spiritual work to forgive that person and emerge a better person because of it. Workplace bullying is never one person. Workplace bullies never act alone because they can't, they are too weak. It is decades of hardcore gang banging. It is a long, slow soul erosion. The worst part about workplace bullying or any form of narcissistic abuse is when you find that it has changed who you are. It's just this nasty residue of other people's negativity that has been wiped all over you. You feel as though you have been slimed and you can't shower enough when you get home. When you do get home, you may find that that negativity has seeped into other areas of your life. The psychic sign of the zodiac is Pisces, represented by the fish. And we all know what happens to fish in a toxic environment. If you are a target of workplace bullying, you need a clearing like no other. And if you are a target of workplace bullying, I know the last thing that you want to do is spend money on a Reiki session. Reiki sessions are very expensive, so if you can't afford one, I got you. There are many gracious masters and students of Reiki who offer sessions here on YouTube. So check it out and let me know what you think. No matter what has been done to you, I hope that you are not unhappy. Decades of getting bullied out of the workplace can give you the space and time to do the real hard spiritual work that no narcissist or workplace bully will ever be able to do. It can also force you into a life of constant change, which enables you to grow. There's a lot of pressure in this society to quote-unquote have it all. But if you are a high-strung empath with a low pain threshold whose tolerance is shot, you may find that having it all is simply way too much work. You may quite like your nice, quiet, simple life of taking joy in small things, the beauty of the natural world, listening to the birds singing outside your window, or listening to the birds fighting outside your window, finding a feather, or seeing a brilliantly colored butterfly. The symbol of Buddhist philosophy is the lotus flower because she grows in dirty water, but remains open like your unbreakable heart. Ultimately, the goal is not happiness, but joy, and a real and everlasting peace, which is a mindful state of not wanting or desiring anything, as the Buddha taught us, something that no narcissist or workplace bully will ever in their lives be able to achieve. So that's a summary of the effect of workplace bullying on targets. If you'd like to read more, I've written an essay on workplace bullying. It's on my website. I include that information in the description. The reason that I create this video series is to establish a forum where targets of workplace bullying can share their stories and experiences in a kind of support group, so you can know, number one, you're not crazy. Workplace bullying is real and your feelings are perfectly valid and justified. And number two, you're not alone. Unfortunately, countless others have experienced the same thing. So I look forward to reading your comments and I'll try to respond. Take care.